everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Gwen?
I am well. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here and honored to have each of you that's in the virtual studio audience here as well. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about going through the fire and how to have strength, courage, and resiliency during those trials and tribulations. And today, our guest, Gwen, is going to talk to you about it at a level that will help you walk away knowing how to make it through some of those fiery times. So where are you located, Gwen?
I am located in South Jersey.
Okay. You know, I could tell you are you born and raised there or what?
No, I am originally from New York.
Okay, well, even further north. Okay, so it's in New York. I knew you were either New York, New Jersey. I wasn't sure because it's like certain way that you pronunciate words, and it's really matter of fact and stern and good, though. It's a solid foundation. I love it.
Oh, well, that's good. Look, that's good to know. I've been in South Jersey now for a little over 20 years. So I still have my New York accent with a little South Jersey accent on top of it.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad to have you. And actually, everyone here, why don't you tell us where you all are visiting in from as well? You can just type it in the comment section. Let us know where you're visiting in. I'll shoot it on the screen. And also any questions or comments that you have throughout today's broadcast, don't hesitate to pop them in there, and we will definitely get you all with those questions answered. So listen, right after this commercial break, Gwen, what I would like for everyone to know is, what made you feel like you had to get through the fire to get to the other side? There were some things that maybe happened on your journey that made you feel like I was literally going through the fire. But what were some of those things? And tell us how you made it to the other side right after this commercial break. We'll be right back, everyone.
It's not just another day. It's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements, and we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
All right, everyone, we are back and we are talking with Gwen. Gwen is an award-winning author, speaker, coach, counselor, and she helps people move from stuck to unstoppable. She's also the CEO of Success Arise, LLC, and the co-founder of Picture Perfect Affairs, LLC. She's passionate about helping other people break free of things that stop them from being successful so that they can truly pursue their purpose. And so again, welcome, Gwen, here to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you.
All right, so take us back on your journey, if you don't mind.
Oh, man. So through the fire. So there, people say either you are getting ready to go into a fire, you're in the midst of a fire, or you're coming out of a fire. And so that is the life cycle. So for me, I've experienced so many periods in my life where I felt like, you know what, this is the fire that I don't know if I'm going to make it through. I think one of the most recent ones, which wasn't as impactful as some people would think it would be, but it really gave me a different perspective on life. And so and it's around health issues. About now 12 years ago, I found myself in a significant amount of pain as I was working. I was a educator, had been in education at that point for probably 22 plus years. Wow. It was a career decision that I knew I wanted to take from early on. So I went to school to become an educator. Okay. And all of a sudden I started experiencing this pain as I was working and, typing and doing different things. And it kept getting progressively worse. And I'm like, sometimes we get so consumed with just doing everyday stuff. We don't take the time to take care of ourselves.
So and your body was talking to you.
My body was screaming at me.
Okay.
And I was ignoring it because I had so many things on my plate that I felt like I needed to deal with. At the time, I was a mom to, at that time, she may have been 2 years old. I was in school getting a second master's degree. I'm married and I am taking care of my mom. We as a family are taking care of my mom who has dementia, and like end-stage dementia. It's pretty bad. And so I'm just going about doing what I'm supposed to do. And it got so bad. I said, you know what? I have to get to the doctor. I got to the doctor and they said, oh, you have carpal tunnel syndrome in both hands. Okay. Oh. Not the worst news. I can deal with that.
Right.
I had surgery on both hands. Unfortunately, within about 3 months, the symptoms start to come back.
So the same carpal tunnel syndromes came back in both hands.
Hands, it's in my neck, it's in my shoulder, it's like all upper body. So I'm saying, okay, what's going on?
And tell people, just those that are viewing, what is carpal tunnel syndrome from your own personal perspective?
So carpal tunnel syndrome usually results as ends up from overworking your hands, whether it be from typing or doing some kind of a repetitive motion. And what happens is that there's pressure applied to the carpal nerve. And when that pressure is applied to the carpal nerve, it creates pain. It makes it difficult to hold things. It makes it difficult to be able to maneuver and do those fine motor skills because of the damage that's to that nerve. It was so bad for me. It slowed down my driving. It was really a huge issue for me. Well, I thought the carpal tunnel was a huge issue for me.
Okay.
Long story short, I am a researcher. And so I started doing some research and I started digging into what could this be. I had gone to literally like the top doctor in the area that does carpal tunnel syndrome. So
they already told you that it was carpal tunnel syndrome.
Right. Correct? They verify it is carpal tunnel.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, he's supposed to be the best. I looked at my hands and you couldn't even tell I had any surgery done because, the incision was so neat and clean. Perfect. So I'm like, what is going on here? So I start doing some research and I find out that it could potentially be my neck, that it could be something along my spinal column that's creating some of the same issues that carpal tunnel would create. So the numbness, the tingling, the pain in my shoulders. So I decide, you know what? Okay, you need to take care of yourself at this point. I know you have a lot going on. And I go and I see a neurologist.
Wow.
And when I go to the neurologist, this was a neurologist that was recommended by a friend because her husband had been seeing him. When I get to this neurologist and I have all my evaluation done and everything is all said and done, he explains to me that if I didn't have surgery within the next couple of months, that I could be paralyzed or in a wheelchair.
Okay, wait a minute now. So now here you've already had what you thought was a course correcting situation by getting the carpal tunnel syndrome in both arms and everything resolved. So in hands, you thought that was resolved, right?
Yes, I thought it was.
But now you're meeting with a neurologist, and the neurologist is telling you that there's another surgery that if you don't have that surgery, it could cause you to have be paralyzed in the future. So now
Correct.
you're realizing that it's nothing necessarily to do with carpal tunnel, or maybe you did have carpal tunnel too. I don't know what.
So I did. I definitely did have carpal tunnel. Most of my work toward the later part of my career in education
Okay.
was spent writing reports. So I spent a significant amount of my day like this, on the computer typing, and I had the worst posture. It was the worst setup for me to be doing that all day long. So
Yeah.
I did actually develop carpal tunnel. Unfortunately, it wasn't the only thing that I developed. I found out that I actually had developed herniation and stenosis on 5 levels in my neck: C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6.
Wow,
Yes.
I wasn't even expecting. I didn't even know this was your story. So this is way different than what I was even envisioning. So now you have all of this happening, plus the carpal tunnel. And what does the neurologist say to you?
Pretty much, I need to have emergency surgery. Like, you need to have the surgery immediately. And, some would say that I'm a woman of strong faith. My response to him was, no. That's not happening. I kind of said, like, pretty much, yeah, I rebuke that. I will not be paralyzed. I will not be in a wheelchair, and I will not come into your office one visit and allow you to put me under the knife. Like, that's not happening.
Interesting you say that, because I actually felt the same way when I met a specialist. I was like, I don't even know your name. You don't know me. My primary care physician I've been dealing with for quite some time. But for you to just come in, hi, how are you? We're going to operate. That is not happening. No, thank you.
Yeah, I had enough within me to stand firm on that. And so fast forward, I did my research. I talked to a coworker. God will displace the right people in your life. Her husband was a medical attorney. He advised me who to go to, who to see. And so I did that. And I went into therapy for an extended period of time, trying to, just try to heal it without having to have this extensive surgery.
Holistic approach, right?
Right. Unfortunately, that didn't work either. And so fast forward 2.5 years later, I ended up having to retire early from education because the pain and the process, it was just too overwhelming. And eventually I did end up having surgery. So I go in, I have the surgery, top doctor. I mean, these are the docs that operate on the athletes, in the local area. So again, the best of the best. I was really confident that this was going to go well. I was going to go back to being completely sufficient as it came to, my physical abilities. Because at this point, I had difficulty even putting on shoes, tying shoes, bending, driving at this point was out of the question because my hands were so weak and so numb that I couldn't hold the wheel. And it made me nervous. I wasn't chancing it. So I wasn't driving it. It was bad. I was up at night because I was in so much pain. So I go forward. I have the surgery. A month goes by, 2 months go by, follow up, things look good. About 6 months go by, and I start feeling some of these issues and symptoms again.
Again. Okay.
Again.
Oh my gosh.
Again. And I go back to this doctor. Again, he's the top doctor. He doesn't get it wrong in his mind. I go back to him, and he pretty much says, not in these words, I'm definitely paraphrasing, like, I'm the top doc. I don't get it wrong. Everything is successful. So at this point, he's telling me it must be in my mind. But he doesn't say it like that. He uses different language like, perhaps, at this point, you can go see a therapist. You can try some other things. And I say, oh, let me explain a few things to you so that you are clear and you understand. Right. I am a therapist. So I need you to
So you talking to the doctor and you're like, no, I
No,
know
no,
I'm the one that provide the therapy
no.
for
Right.
people. So
So
let me give you some counseling that you
r-
need to figure out what's going on with me.
right. That's pretty much what I say to him. I say, I understand that for some people, this could be a mental block, a mental issue. You've suffered with this pain, and it just could be around some mental issues. Let me be clear, this is not mental. So to avoid any confusion, let's do another MRI. Again, I'm a researcher, so
Right.
I already know what to say to him. Let's do
Wow.
another MRI because the MRI won't lie. We do another MRI, and the MRI shows that there is still herniation and stenosis on 2 levels.
Wow. So had
What?
you not done that MRI, you wouldn't even have had whatever is going to be the resolution to the situation. So that MRI revealed even more problematic areas.
Right. So the
You
MRI,
brought to attention.
right, the MRI revealed that although the other levels seem to have been corrected, that those 2 levels were not corrected. And those were the levels that impact my ability to have more of that fine motor skill as it relates to my hand, which is why I was still having issues with my hands.
Wow. Okay.
And so at this point, he's like, well, there's really nothing else that I can do because I've had the surgery and you're not opting for another surgery. So I was sent to pain management, went to pain management, and they did this procedure called dry needling. It's pretty painful, but it was helpful. I tell you, I was going through the fire. Let me just stop and say, I was definitely going through the fire with this. And so I do the dry needling, and I'm getting progress with that. It's helping. It helps to the point where I don't even get it done for about a year, maybe a year and a half, right?
Wow.
And so at this point, I'm working. Let me backtrack. So in the midst of retiring, I also start my own educational consulting business.
Okay.
And I get hired immediately by the school district I retired from. Look at God, right?
That's
so
God
I'm in
right
the midst
there.
of,
Yes.
of trying to get, work and manage this pain. I'm doing better. And after about a year and a half, the symptoms start to come back. But I was good because it had been all this time and I was good. I make a call. I tell you, this situation was just absolutely crazy. I make a call to go for a follow-up with the doctor that I was seeing, who was a wonderful female doctor, very caring, great bedside manner. And it was something that I felt like she truly identified with what I was going through.
Right.
Something in me said, you know what? She seems like she not only is the doctor, but maybe she's had her own issues and she understands just because of how she interacted with me. I go to make the appointment. They tell me to hold on. A lady comes on and says, Mrs. Tillery, I'm sorry to have to give you some bad news. And I'm like, well, what's the bad news? Your doctor passed away a couple of months ago.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So now the one doctor who I trusted to do this
Finally,
procedure,
you trust.
right, I'm having some progress with, she's no longer here to do it. And so we fast forward even more. So it's been about 10 years. I have not had any more dry needling done. I still have issues, around that herniation and stenosis, but I realized, you know what? I am here. I am grateful.
Yes.
I am still able to do so much despite those physical limitations that I have, which most people would look at me and not even know it. When I tell people I don't drive, they're like, you don't drive? No, because there's still a part of me that honestly, it might be psychological. When you're driving and you find that your hand becomes so numb that you can't even hold the wheel, that you let it go, that's a very scary situation. And so even to now, I'll drive maybe 5 minutes away, but I'm still not driving. So there's some things that are still impacting me as a result of this herniation and stenosis. But you know what? I came through the fire. I never lost my faith. I kept my faith and my trust in God. And the other thing I did was I said, okay, God, I know you're in control of everything.
Yes.
From the biggest detail to the smallest detail. I know you care about me.
Yes.
And so if you allowed this to happen, not caused it to happen, but if you allowed it to happen, how will you be glorified in it?
Wow.
What can I learn from it?
What we're gonna do is we're gonna learn from what you learned from your own going through the fire. When we come back after this commercial break, I want to make sure we do a couple of things. I want to make sure that we get some of our virtual studio audience comments in, because they are just chiming in like crazy. I'm so excited about them participating today. But then also, I would love for you to tell us some tips on how you came through the fire and what you advise for other people that are dealing with their own fires, whether it's carpal tunnel, herniated, whatever it is that's going on. We all have trials and tribulations, the things that we're going through the fire. How do you help us get through our firestorms in life? Okay. So when we come back, we'd love to hear some of that from you. All right. We'll be right back, everybody, right after this commercial break.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
All right, everyone, we're talking with Gwen Goolsby Tillery today. I love that name, by the way. Gwen Goolsby. Am I saying it right? Goolsby?
Yes, you are.
All right, Goolsby Tillery. And you have to say the whole name for it to be like popping there. Okay. Going through the fire, and she's talking about strength and resilience as we go through the fire, but she's also sharing with us how to come out of some of our fiery situations. So let's go to our virtual studio audience comments and see what's coming in. Dennis says this is excellent. I remember those cars. Oh yeah, people are saying eventually that soon the cars are going to drive you instead of you having to drive the car. So you're going to have everything taken care of for you, Robert says. In and through the fire, Manley says. And then someone else chimed in and said, hey, I hope that they're working on those AI personalities for those cars too. That will keep things fun. Yes, it will. Yes, the doctors say that I have trigeminal neurology, almost 6 years now, 24, zero pain. Okay. Any comments on any of that? I'm not sure what trigeminal.
Well, yeah, the cars will be driving me soon. And so I am looking forward to that time when I can just get in the car. Will actually be able to drive me. We are getting closer and closer to that as time moves on. So I'm actually pretty excited about that. And someone said about what the doctor says. The doctor said, initially I was going to be paralyzed, and I just wouldn't receive that. I just would not accept that as being the case. And so that's one of the things that we have to begin to do when life comes to us. When we find ourselves in the fire, in the midst of the fire, we have to begin to speak life. We have to say, I know this is what the doctor said, or I know this is what the situation looks like, but you know what? I'm going to speak life over this situation. Right. I'm going to take command over this situation, because the word tells me that I am already victorious, that no matter what comes my way, I'm victorious. And so that's what I began to do. I began to do a lot of self-development, because I have to remind people that I was literally grieving. I did not realize this until years later, that I was actually grieving. Although I knew that I would probably not spend, it would have been 40 plus years in education, because I started teaching at the age of 22. And so for me to retire from education, I would have had to have spent a long time doing it. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but it's different when you're forced to do something that you may not be ready for. You know, it's different when you are pretty self-sufficient, you know, when you can hop in your car and you can drive or go or do whatever you want.
Right, there's a big difference.
And then you find that you can't. It's a loss. So grief is more than just the loss of a person. I want people to understand. Absolutely. It's the loss of something that you once loved, appreciated, you know. And so I found myself grieving this, you know, these losses. And so I started doing a lot of self-development. I started listening to people, you know, like Les Brown. I started reading scriptures that spoke life to me, you know, that spoke to my situation. And that's when, you know, I really took on that scripture of Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And I said, well, if this is the word of God and this is what God is telling me, that means that despite what has happened, despite what things may look like, He still has a plan for me. There's still a future for me. There's still hope for me. And so I'm not going to lose hope. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to be distracted. And I'm not going to let the devil defeat me. And so I just started saying, God, you know what? What am I supposed to learn out of this situation?
Yes.
What's supposed to come out of this situation? Because, again, if you're in control, and you allowed it, what is it that I am going to gain? How are you going to be glorified? And that was the beginning of the process for me.
That's good. That's good. Let me go to this comment too, with Leah saying about the trigomenial neuralgia. I looked it up, and it is actually a condition that causes painful sensations similar to an electric shock on one side of the face. It's a chronic pain condition, according to Mayo Clinic, that affects your nerves, the trigomenial nerves, and I might be pronouncing it wrong, which carries sensation from your face to your brain. And so I'm really grateful to hear that you've lived pain-free from that for this long. So thank God that is the case with you, Leah. And I wanted to also say too, that when people are physicians, they're practicing medicine. And so they are definitely giving you the scientific theory behind what they believe is going to work for you. And so I do believe that we need our physicians and we value our physicians, and they give us the best feedback that they can. But then there are different times that they may not always be 100% accurate. They're telling you what they know based on the gifts and the talents that they have. I was told by my physician when I was having ovarian cysts removed in my early 20s that I would not be able to have children. Well, guess what? I have 5 children that came out of my body. So as you go through the fire, sometimes you're even in the fire and you don't know you're in the fire, because the decision was made for a portion of my ovary to be taken while I was under anesthesia and being operated on. An emergency decision had to be made to take that portion of my or lose my life type of thing. So at the time, a decision was made for me to be able to survive and not worry about that piece of the ovary, only to find out I actually now could have children. I have 5 that came out of my body. So we don't know that when we're going through the fire and through the storms and the trials of life, what is really going to be on the outset for us. Just trust and believe that God has the best plans for your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting, this trigomenial nerve. So again, I said medical issues. So just as I begin to get better and, you know, I'm not experiencing as much pain as it relates to the herniation and stenosis, I'm praising God. You know, I said, God, you know what? I'm going to be obedient. He was calling me to ministry. I surrender. I start doing my women's conferences. I'm like, okay, I'm going forward in ministry, God. And then another medical issue occurs. So I'm still going through. This time, and that comment made me think about it. I wake up one morning and I go in the bathroom, I look in the mirror, and the whole left side of my face is literally drooped down. I immediately yell to my husband, we've got to get to the emergency room. I think I've had a stroke. We get to the emergency room. They take me right in because it's visible. You can see my pressure is crazy high. It's like 180 over 110. I'm like, oh my God, I've had a stroke. I'm having a stroke. What's going on here? Doctors come in, assess me. They say, ma'am, no, you have not had a stroke. So thank God. Okay, but what is this then? They say, you've developed Bell's palsy.
Oh, okay.
I said, what? Who? Now, mind you, again, I've been in the school system, dealt with a lot of different medical issues, having a background in psychology. I had never heard of it, interestingly enough. So I'm like, who, what, huh? And so they begin to explain what it is. Fast forward, long story short, I think the number is about 85 to 90% of people who develop Bell's palsy. Most of the symptoms will be gone within 6 months. That did not happen for me.
Oh.
I still have lingering symptoms. And so I still have tearing in the eyes. I still have numbness on my left side. I still have some paralysis. When I smile, my smile is not symmetrical. So now let me say this. Just when I thought I was good, I'm back again. Remember I said you're coming out or you're going. I'm back in the midst of the fire as it relates
Amazing. Some of the stuff you're talking about. I mean, as you're inspiring us, this is unbelievable fiery storms you've been through. And nearly 40,000 Americans are affected with Bell's palsy every year. And you happen to be one of them. They get this, how is that possible?
I happen to be
everything else. Did they say what triggered it? What made this?
No, they don't really know. They really don't know what causes Bell's palsy. Some people say it's stress related. They say it's viral. They really don't know what causes it. And so they say it could be triggered by cold weather. You get all these different answers, but there's still no cure for it. So bottom line is 4 years later, I'm still dealing with the results now of herniation and stenosis and Bell's palsy, right? So I'm in the midst of, this happens in January. January 7th is the date it happens. I have a women's conference scheduled for March, right? I am one of the main speakers. I am the host, and literally I can barely speak. It takes so much effort and energy to be able to put together sentences and not look crazy or not have my words slurred. Now, everyone said, what are you talking about? But they didn't know the amount of effort it took for me to be able to do that. I thank God for my background. I started studying speech for a while as well. So as well as my background in education, I knew the importance of really being able to articulate my words and how I had to move my lips and my tongue to make sure that everything was coming out as it was supposed to, which is fine, when you're talking for a few seconds or minutes, but I'm literally about to do this conference, right? All right, God, you know what? I give up. I throw in the towel. That's my attitude. I'm canceling the conference. I'm done. I was obedient. I surrendered. And now you've allowed this to happen. I can't take anymore.
Can't take it anymore, God.
And the big thing about the Bell's palsy for me was, and I'm going to be honest and transparent. See, with the herniation and stenosis, it's hidden.
Right.
You can't see it. But with the Bell's palsy, there's no hiding it. There's no hiding it.
Now
it's obvious.
There.
It's obvious. It's there. So for someone who, I thought that my smile was my best attribute. So now I didn't have it. And two, someone who struggled with self-esteem issues to begin with, that was a double whammy for me. So now in the midst of dealing with everything else, now I have to deal with this. I have to look in the mirror and I have to accept that, you know what, this is it.
Wow.
I'm like, God, you know what? I'm done. And then I hear the voice say, you're not done. You're just getting started.
And you have no clue what I have in store for you,
You're not,
basically.
you're not done. You're
That is
just getting started.
incredible.
And you're not canceling the conference. The conference will go on. And the conference did go on. And not only did it go on, but from that, I developed a whole new outlook on who I was. And my self-esteem, this woman who had struggled, it's so crazy how God works, who had struggled with identity for so long. I looked at myself and I saw myself the way God saw me,
My
as
Lord.
beautiful and fearfully and wonderfully made, despite, or even not even despite, even with this Bell's palsy.
Oh my goodness. Now you know what? If everyone can have that view or vantage point about ourselves, life would just be a beautiful thing, wouldn't it? And I was wow. I was looking at this one quote. It said the most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul when it's on fire. And I can tell you that according to, I don't know, this person is Foch, Foch is the last name. Anyway, the point is the human soul being on fire really catapulted you to your destiny, because some tremendous things have happened since all of those physical limitations happened in your life. So I can't wait for us to hear what some of those things are when we come back. Everybody, I know that you all are enjoying today's episode. I see much love, much love. I thank God for your Aunt Robert. I see that. I see all kinds of comments coming in. Someone said that their doctor was needing to speak in their language barrier. My mom is on. She said, hey, I'm in my virtual seat. And someone else said, let's see. Someone else said that something I find great medicine in general is flowing joy in great abundance from my heart, through my fingers, through the comments of live stream, the eyes of the one that I composed the comment for, the into my soul, which I love. I understand what you're saying. And you're saying you're just grateful for the activity of your limbs is what I think I'm hearing. And Robert said that, hey, I've often wondered about this because he's had to lift weights. He's lifted weights for about 27 years and then stopped with a blown rotator cuff. And this also reminds me to call my doctor to see if the procedure can encourage my shoulder to heal itself, and instead of just assuming that he's going to handle it on his own. So you're inspiring Robert today by coming on and sharing your story, Gwen. And matter of fact, let me put this link as well, because sometimes some people want to come on and ask your questions directly to our guests. So you can use that link and it'll bring you into the broadcast. Give me a thumbs up and I'll pull you on. You can ask your quick question. Marita says, thank you so much, Les Brown, for allowing the Kim Jacobs Show to be on our platform. So we're so glad that we are here Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks to Les Brown. I love Mr. Les Brown. You've inspired me, and with no little measure. Somebody from Germany's chiming in. Okay, the Philippines. And I see you all tagging people. I see you from Nigeria. Yes, okay. All right, and from Virginia and Canada and Kenya, all of you all that's chiming in. So glad to have you. So glad, so glad. Tennessee, Nigeria. All right. So listen, when we come back after this commercial break, I want people to hear how you took all of this fire and you put it into something that's beautiful, a beautiful work of art, an anthology. And I want you to talk about that when we come back. Are you enjoying yourself, Gwen?
I am. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, I'm so glad. So glad. So everybody, listen, I think this will be a good time to let you all know as well that we have a program where we are teaching people how to start their own show from scratch. And Les Brown endorses the program as well. So you'll get to hear directly from him for a few moments. We infuse it into our broadcast. But you can visit KimJacobsConsulting.com to learn more. KimJacobsConsulting.com. And let's take a listen for a few moments from Les Brown now. Hello, everyone. I am Kim Jacobs, the host of the Kim Jacobs Show. And you all know who's right here with me, Dr. Les Brown. How are you, Dr. Brown?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge. If you got a message, you have some knowledge or experience, a story, or If you want to do something adventurous and exciting with your life that can increase your credibility, expose you to millions of people, I'm encouraging you to have your own talk show. I used to have a talk show. That one talk show catapulted me to another level. Now there are more people watching the internet, as you are aware, than television.
Yes.
Come on, somebody.
That's right.
Dr. Kim Jacobs, she trained people on how to have their own talk show. She will train you how to do that. And now with me working, partnering with her, now you have the combination of an audience, expansive audience. We have over 4 million people in all of our platforms, and the coaching you need to grow your business, to grow your multi-level marketing organization, to draw more attention to yourself in this noisy economy. Go ahead, Kim.
So in the training that I do, Les, I actually do a 6-week training. It's 1 hour per week. And each week I meet with the individuals one-on-one. We go through and we talk about all of the things that's necessary for a show to become a reality. We go from how to actually identify your focus area, what's going to be your ideal customer that's going to be tuning in. We'll talk about how to get guests, how to get sponsorship, how to go about getting your lighting, your branding, and your banners, and everything that you need to know. And guess what, Les? They own their own content at the end of the day.
And that's exciting. Now, if you're ready to create a shift in your business and in your life and increase your cash flow, I want you to go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. It's right there on the screen, KimJacobsConsulting.com. You know, people say opportunity knocks on every door. Right. No, opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and that's Kim's story, and we're sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. All right, so that's my story too now, according to what Les Brown is saying. And he says, bye-bye. So I'll see you in training. Go to KimJacobsConsulting.com to learn more. All right, so Gwen, there has been a significant shift. You pivoted. You didn't let your ailments hold you down. You didn't let going through the fire stop you at all. You actually just was like in a rocket cannon and you've been shot to greater heights. Talk to us about that.
So yeah, you know what, you're absolutely right. It was 5 years ago, I released my first book, which was entitled Finding Purpose in Your Pain, Moving from Tragedy to Triumph. It was a book that I didn't want to write. I fought every step of the way to write it because, well, it revealed a lot about me. And sometimes, you know, we're not too comfortable telling too much about ourselves, but it gave the story of the process of me going through that process of healing, you know, and getting over that herniation and stenosis and learning who I was again. Because unfortunately for me and for so many people, we identify with what we do. You know, right. I'm a teacher. So when you lose that thing or that thing stops, then we feel like there's no longer any identity. We've lost our identity. We don't know who we are. And again, I knew I kept going back to that Jeremiah 29:11. God's plan. I kept saying, but God's plan hasn't changed. And so if his plan hasn't changed and there's still a hope and there's still a future, it's your responsibility to dig deep, to figure out what it is. And so I found myself doing all these different things. So I am a creative. So I'm always thinking and moving and doing. And so I found myself really, I was all over the place. I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to do business. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. But I was trying to figure out what the next step was, what the next move was, because I knew it had to be something. It was something great was going to come out of all of this. And so I started the process again. You had Les Brown on. I spent a lot of time listening to his messages, and his, there's greatness within you. And I'm like, you know what? There is. I'm not going to be defined by a job. I'm not going to be defined by a title. And so let me begin to pursue this thing that God has for me. And I found what I realized about myself, whether it was operating within the school system or being on youth council or anything that I did, I always had the ability to exhort. I've always had the gift of exhortation, to be able to encourage people, to be able to uplift people, but also to be able to hold people accountable to help them move to the next level.
That's good.
I've always found that I've had the ability and the desire for people to be able to operate in excellence and give their best. Even my students, my background was in special education. So for me, as a special education teacher, I had the students that struggled the most. I had the students that were not the best behaviorally, but there was something in me that allowed me to be able to see, first of all, their potential and then pull the best out of them, where, I had a student who didn't want to write one sentence, be able to then write a full essay.
Go ahead.
I said, you know what? And I've got to go back. I got to stop and I've got to go back. I was sitting in my office before I left education, and I heard a voice say, there's going to be a shift. And this was early in my walk with God. And I'm like, okay, you're losing it. This is what I'm saying. You're losing it. Like, that is not God.
You're set where you are. You're right where you thought you wanted to be. So what kind of shift could possibly happen?
There's going to be a shift. And I'm like, okay, you're losing it. That's not God talking to you. And the next thing I heard was, you're going to begin to work with women. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. I love the kids. Give me the teens. I know they're challenging, but I love them. Yeah. I'm drama free. I don't like the cat. Like, no, I know that's not God speaking to me. Fast forward, who do I work with? Primarily women. And so I began this process of really figuring out who I am and what are my gifts? What are my talents? What could I do pretty much in my sleep without even thinking about it? Right. And I realized that I had this gift to encourage, and I had this desire for people to want to be at their best. So I found myself doing a lot of network marketing. Why? Because a lot of it was around health products or things that would improve your life. And from there, I said, you know what? No, it's not about these products. It's about me and what I bring. And so I launched my first business, which was Spark, which then became Success Arise, which is dedicated to empowering women to be able to move from stuck to unstoppable, heal, whole, and happy, and pursue their purpose.
I'm going to share that actually with everyone so you all can get a visual of going over to her website, which is, again, successarise.com. Successarise.com. And let me make sure you learn a little bit here. You'll be able to learn more about, let me go up here. I love this. First of all, you can get a free digital planner. And I personally don't believe you can have success without being able to write your goals and your dreams down and know what it is that you're even able to go back and hold yourself accountable to doing what you said you're going to do. So I'm excited that she has, if you subscribe, you get a free digital calendar planner there. And then also some information about Gwen, as well as the book. Tell them how they can get this book as well.
Yes, so the book is available on my website, and it is entitled Through the Fire. And so about 2 years ago, God gave me this vision for an anthology that would encourage people to be able to move from stuck to unstoppable. Because again, when life happens, too many people get stuck and they use that as their excuse for why they can't. But the reality is that many times it's that very thing that you think is going to take you out, that very thing that you think is going to destroy you, propels you into your purpose, and you realize your strength and your character, and you realize just how amazing God is. And so as I began to put together what I wanted for Through the Fire, again, remember, I work primarily with women. God made it very clear that it's not just women that go through the fire. Men and women go through the fire. We all go through the fire. And so this anthology is unique in that it has men and women. You know, it also has a couple in there who talks about marriage. They've been married for 40 plus years, and they discuss how they've been able to maneuver in their marriage. And so these are truly stories of strength, courage, and resilience. I mean, we have stories about, you know, domestic violence, stories about adoption, stories of overcoming breast cancer 3 times. It's such a wide variety of stories. And that's why I love it. And I think that the feedback about it has been so great because the stories are
so great. Because
so
guess
great.
what? It's bestseller on Amazon. So it definitely hit best-selling status. And you all want to get your copy of Through the Fire, Stories of Strength, Courage, and Resilience. What do you want listeners or viewers today to walk away with regarding this particular book? People that read this book, what do you want them to walk away learning?
When you read this book, what I want you to realize is that God has not promised us a life that is of perfection. Good. If we think about the walk of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, he had to go through the fire, you know, so we're not exempt from that. What I want people to know is that you pull from that strength. When you come through on the other side, you're stronger, you're wiser, you're smarter, and you're more equipped. If you take the time to, I call, grow through it, gain understanding, what was it that allowed me to even end up here? Because sometimes we got to be honest, it was us that put us in that fire. Right. So you take the time to gain understanding. Yes. You recognize that God is righteous. If he allowed it, you know what? Something good can come out of it. You be open to the opportunities that come from it, and you walk in your purpose. You grow through it. You allow the fire to grow you up to become who it is that God wants you to be. It is not the time to get stuck. It is not the time to make excuses, but it's the time to examine the situation, pull from it, grow from it, and move forward.
Beautiful, beautifully stated. And listen, you all know that there are several other books that are available on their website, Success Arise. And this one in particular, Affirmations for Women on a Mission. This book is filled with applicable affirmations from so many different authors. I have it sitting on my bedstand because I love to just read some of the affirmations. They're extremely inspiring. And there's a place to take notes as well. So make sure you get all of these books that are available. All you have to do is go to Success Arise, and that's ARIZE for the podcast listeners on iHeart and everywhere. Make sure you know that you can go to successarise.com and also get a copy of Finding Purpose in Your Pain. All 3 of these books are available and lots of other information right on successarise.com. I just wanted to make sure you all had a visual of what the website looked like, and I thought that would be helpful. Now, any additional closing comments or anything? I know I see another flyer here too that I wanted to pull up, and make sure you get a chance to talk about that. Tell us about this event that's happening.
Yes, so I am excited to be a part of Kingdom Purpose TV. We are celebrating our second anniversary. And so today, tomorrow, and Saturday, we are doing our virtual conference. Our afternoon conference speakers between 1 and 3 are sharing practical tips and tools around business, health, and relationships to move you towards greater, because God has a greater expectation of us, but we should also be expecting greater from God. So it's a balance between us doing what God expects, and then in return, Him moving us to greater. So tune in for that. And then in the evening, we have some praise and worship and some amazing speakers as well. So that's kingdompurposetv.com.
Excellent, you all. I mean, this is some great information. You want to stay connected with this beautiful vessel that God has created, Gwen Goolsby Tillery. How can they stay connected with you? I have here your website. I think that's pretty much where they can get everything, but you can definitely tell them and direct them.
Yes, so you can reach me through the website, www.successarise.com. I am on Instagram under Success Arise, as well as my name, Gwen Goolsby Tillery. I am also on Facebook under my name, Gwen Goolsby Tillery. And for the ladies, I have a group that is called Success Arise, where we give daily inspiration and encouragement as well.
Absolutely incredible. So I see a lot of your comments coming in. I would encourage you, Gwen, if you will, to go to Les Brown's Facebook page and respond to a lot of these different comments that's coming in. I see scriptures. Yes, let's see. Using your unique gifts. Okay, I got to read some of them sometime. I can't just pop them up without knowing what I'm saying. Okay. Give to Jeremiah, keep it in your mind, in your inner heaven, and knowing that you have greatness in you and the rest of your life. Sir D.P. Frazier is talking about that scripture and giving people a big juicy kiss. They said, okay, great. All right, make sure you seal the deal with a kiss, is what he's saying. Propelled into your purpose is what Lisa is saying. My God, Vernicia says, our stories are so similar. So make sure you all connect. And not just let this be the only opportunity that you're hearing and speaking with Gwen via some comments, but do some one-off connecting to make sure that the relationship grows deeper, okay? Congratulations, Gwen, for becoming a best-selling author, Lisa Thomas says as well. And I share your vision. I see your comments and all of your comments that have come in today. We appreciate you all being a part of today's episode. Also know that today's episode is sponsored also by GetInsured.Solutions. If you are dealing with end-of-life situations and you want to be able to keep more of the finances with the family, reach out to Samantha Benson, 704-499-3616, and let them all know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. Somebody also said, hey, Les Brown, you are a lifesaver, and the information is a lifesaver. All right. So these have been fantastic comments. Stay connected. Oh, somebody said they're going to connect with you also. Leah said, hey, I'm connecting with Gwen indeed. Yes. And please post the website for your books. Is that where they can get the books as well?
Yes, you can purchase the books at www.successarise.com. Yes.
Make sure you go and get a copy of those books today, right after this broadcast. I do want to also inform you that there is a big event coming up in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, the Charlotte Vegan Experience. I spoke with the owner last evening, and she said that it's more for her of a spiritual type of situation. She doesn't just want to teach people about being vegan, but she wants them to have a wonderful overall spiritual experience. So this event, you can find it on Eventbrite and look up the Charlotte Vegan Experience. It's going to be at Johnson C. Smith on July 17th. And so make sure you all go ahead and get your tickets. Tickets are like $25, and I think it's $15 if you're a student, a veteran, or different things. So go check them out. And they are eager to serve you and have a great event teaching you about how to become a vegan. Not pushing their views on you, but just sharing some insightful information. And today's episode is sponsored in loving memory of one of our team members, which is Cassandra Davis is one of our team members here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So the beautiful letters that every guest ever received, giving you your instructions and things to be prepared for, You get them from our representative who also helps us with a lot of our legal things as well, which is Cassandra Davis. Her mom transitioned to be with the Lord. And so I want to make sure that you all know that we're sending loving prayers of comfort and prayers of peace to the entire Williams family in honor of her mom today. We just want to acknowledge that her mom did transition to be with the Lord recently. An earthly angel has gone home. All right. I just want to acknowledge that as well. Gwen, a closing comment, and we're going to get on off this good show.
Wow. Closing comment would be this, that success arises built on the concept of the fact that God doesn't create something for no purpose and so for no reason, which is why I say success is already in your DNA. And so we just can't allow the world's view and perspective to cause us to lose sight of the fact that our God is sovereign and that you were created with a plan and with a purpose. And no matter what comes your way, you have a responsibility to yourself and to God to pursue it until the day you leave here. Because as long as you're here and you're breathing, there's still purpose inside of you.
Wow. I can't say anything more than that. Have a great day. God bless you all. Stay inspired. And we'll see you again here on the Kim Jacobs Show. You are a great guest, Gwen. Stay backstage for a second. And I see you, Alamin, as well backstage. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you soon. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show.